Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. I've got a HP 14CE series here and it needs its display assembly to be rebuilt. So we've got a broken hinge there that is all just breaking out. So we're going to strip this bad boy down and rebuild the display assembly. We've done this job on many laptops many times before, but when it comes to fixing computers, repetition is key. So let's do it all again. So I'm going to start out by taking the bottom cover off this laptop and we're going to remove the display assembly. And being a HP, we're going to find that some of the screws are hidden. There's going to be some screws underneath these feet. I'll check under one of these ones, but it will probably be just the back. So let's have a quick nosy. Nothing. Cool. If there isn't one under here, there won't be one under here. Uh-oh. That screw feels very broken. Right, so the back left screw, which is this one here, is spinning and not undoing. So I'm going to pop out the back cover and I'm going to try and put some tension on it, which might allow me to unscrew it without having to force something. That's bad news because that means we may have additional damage in this laptop, which I've not accounted for before I started. But we'll see how we do. Right, so I'm now just lifting up the back panel with one hand to pull on that screw. So when I turn it, there might be just enough tension on the spinning nut for it to actually turn properly. Hard to tell if that's the case or not. I'm getting no feedback at all, but because I'm tensioning it, I'm taking up any slack that's going into it as well. Oh boy. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get a big boy screwdriver. We may well wound this trying to extract it. So I've got enough lift on here that I can get my hand right under. So I'm going to put my hand right under and get it as close as possible, like there-ish, to put a huge amount of tension on that plate. So it's pulling on that screw to pull the nut up against whatever it's stuck behind. And now I've got a big screwdriver I can keep turning. Oh boy, that does not feel like it wants to go. Nope. Okay. Alright, something just gave. Gosh, heck, I'm furious. I got the back cover off, kicking and screaming, and found that all of these screws were all spinning in their mounts and they'd all broken up, as what happens with broken hinges. So I managed to get that off. These fittings had all come out, and I just spent like half an hour painstakingly explaining how we can fix these, only to spot that I'd paused the video for a moment and forgotten to unpause while I explained everything. So I'll quickly summarize. Can't really show it all in action because I've already done it now, but such is. There's no retakes when you're doing fixing, unfortunately. However, what I've done down here is, under here, the display assembly has been removed, and these are the fittings that the display hinges screw into. And they have broken out of their plastic mounts because plastic breaks. You shouldn't use plastic to mount screens, but this is modern laptops we're talking about here. Anywho, so these have come out, and what I've done is I've just used a 2-part epoxy, which is this stuff here. Behold, I've just used a 2-part epoxy to glue these back in. Now there's a specific technique I've used to achieve this, because if you just stick glue in the hole and then press the fitting back in there, all of the glue will just flood this screw hole and ruin the fitting. And so the method I did was on each fitting, I put a little bit of Captain tape across the bottom of the fitting. So just capped off the bottom of the fitting with some tape. Then I used a craft knife just to cut most of the excess off around the side of the fitting. It doesn't have to be completely flush, just get rid of as much of it as you can. So the bottom of the fitting has got just a little layer of plastic tape over it. Then you put some epoxy in the hole and press the fitting into the hole. And because the bottom of the fitting is is blocked off with Kapton tape, the epoxy won't go into the center of the fitting. It'll come up around the sides here. And so now it's just filled up the sides of this, and that is now hardening. And that, because we've got this nice big block of plastic remaining, there should be enough strength there for this repair to actually hold. So I've done the same with the other two holes. These two have got plastic that has come off from around the sides of the holes. I've put this bit of plastic back in place, and I've just got some cardboard there just to hold everything in place while it dries. I don't know how well these ones are going to hold up, if I'm honest. I think with this one is going to be strong. These guys, not so much, but by the time everything is screwed down, I think they'll hold in place. So I'm confident that this is going to hold up. But it's worth noting that notice that we've got a lot of plastic material around here. Everything is filled with this plastic. So that to me means there's a good chance that it'll hold together because it's just all a block fit. If we were just trying to glue two surfaces together, I would say you have no hope at all. And that is quite a common instance when you get like a small metal plate that is welded to plastic, or a plastic plate that is welded to metal or something along those lines. And once the factory weld or the factory adhesive comes off, that's it. You're not going to glue that on again in a meaningful way. However, because we've got a lot of structure still here, I'm confident that this repair will actually hold up well enough to keep the laptop in one piece when we reassemble. So past that, that's the repair I've done to the body of the laptop. This all needs cleaning up. You can see all of the dust on those fans. Don't worry, that will get taken care of. In the meantime, I'm going to carry on working on the display assembly now. And we can still get a good video out of this. So I'm going to leave that to dry. We'll come back to it. And we will carry on fixing this display assembly. Because now we've got to deal with this and the broken hinge, which is that one. Which just, I could pull that out if I tried. So let's get this the right way up. And we're going to start by removing the front bezel of the screen. And we'll just start disassembling. So to get this bezel off, I'm just going to get my fingernails underneath. It's already come up slightly where the hinge is broken. So I've got to start, and I can probably just peel this off. Right, is there damage to the LCD? There is. So what we do want to watch out for here, along the bottom here, where the bezel has been glued to the LCD, we're pulling the wrap of the LCD away. Now, this is not immediately terminal, but it does make the LCD horridly exposed. So we really want to avoid that. So I'm just going to very gently put my prying tool there and just, I want to pull the wrap of the LCD off of the bezel and just gently separate those without putting any pressure on the LCD. Actually, I'm going to go around the others. I'm going to go all the way around the LCD first and just do the easy stuff. And we should be able to get this off without damaging the LCD. It's filthy and horrid and stuff, but this will clean up. This is 100% salvageable. And you can peel a lot of the wrap of the LCD right back to the point where it looks like you've completely mullered it, and it'll still work just fine. So don't panic if it suddenly looks like you've ripped it all up. It's the ribbons underneath that plastic wrap that are the delicate bit. And exposing them won't damage them, but obviously impact or, well, damaging them damages them. Let's go along the back here. And can we thread this out? Not quite. There we go. Okay, we're making progress. A little bit of heat here might not go amiss just to soften the glue, but I usually find just sliding my fingers underneath. Here we go, I've got something going here now. This is usually good enough. Ugh, whoops. That was a near miss. I'm surprised I didn't just snap that bezel in half. Which wouldn't have been the end of the world. I can probably find one of these on eBay for £10 or so. Less than ideal because you're starting to eat into your profit when you start breaking bits, but more than doable. Okay, right, so you can see where this has been damaged and then stuck down again. It looks unpleasant, but it will be okay. I'll be very surprised if there's any problems with this LCD. I'll be very upset as well, if I'm honest, but I'm 99% certain that this will be fine. So we've got the bezel. We'll put that to one side. That needs to be cleaned. The LCD needs to be cleaned. We need to get it all out first. So now let's assess the damage. You can see here, just modern laptops, people, modern laptops. So we've got just some plastic that was just glued to a metal back, and everything is just on there. And I don't know how anyone expects these to hold the lifetime of a laptop. I've always rebelled against the term built-in obsolescence. I think it's a buzzword that cynical people trot out when they want to sound clever. They go sort of, oh, built-in obsolescence, they just want your money, blah, blah, blah. But when it gets to the point of this kind of thing, it's very, very difficult to make any case to the contrary of just built-in obsolescence. You know, I don't want to say it was built to fail, but it sure as hell wasn't built to last. So we need to extract this LCD. It is glued into the back of the display assembly. We've got these plastic tabs here. I think that is stretch release. So let's see if we can get that out. Yeah. Normally when I'm taking one of these apart, it's because it's got a broken LCD, so I don't need to worry about damaging it. However, on this time, we do actually want to take careful. Yeah, good. So, as you can see, this is stretch release. It comes out as a crazy ribbon, and you just want to keep grabbing the bottom of it, and it will just all pull out. Not a good time. God damn it. Adamant IT. I'm here until 3 o'clock today. Cool. All right, thank you. Cheers, bye. There we go. Whew. Right, that's one side. Let's get the other side off. We have 2 replacement hinges for this, so I don't need to worry about preserving this hinge. But obviously, no. Try that again. Alright, LCD should flip out now. Just carefully eke that out. Can we... Not yet, we'll disconnect it. We need the display cable out of here as well because we're transplanting all of this into a new display assembly. Has this been done before? That's strange. This is all scrambled up. It almost looks like this has been done before. However, whoever it was had the correct stretch release tabs and everything. Odd. Don't know what to make of that. There we go. Right, there's our LCD. We'll clean that before it goes back in. Okay, right, we don't actually care about getting this hinge out because we have another one. We need the webcam, the display cable, and do we need the Wi-Fi antenna? I can see stuff on my replacement one. Oh, this is considerably built up. Oh, look at that. It comes with new stretch release tape on it. Oh, and it's a dual antenna model. Oh, win. I bet this doesn't have a dual antenna Wi-Fi card on it, though. No, of course it doesn't, because it's a fucking HP. Oh, well. Interesting. I got a horrible feeling this is not the first time that this display assembly has been replaced, because that is not a factory finish. This one has been built up by a third party. Someone has put in Wi-Fi antennas on this. They've put in both though, which is really sporting of them. So it's got dual Wi-Fi antennas, and trust me, dual antennas makes a massive difference to the Wi-Fi performance. It's why I'm so frustrated with HP for never ever putting in dual antennas. I'm just like, my God, it's 2022, and you have modern laptops with a single Wi-Fi antenna solution. Apple had dual band Wi-Fi in their laptops in 2010 or earlier. In fact, I'm going to check that. Yeah, confirmed. Core 2 Duo MacBook Pros had dual band multi-antenna Wi-Fi cards in them. Okay, let's get this thing fixed. Right. So, we don't need the Wi-Fi antennas. We do need the webcam. We do need the display cable. So, let's get that. I shall just pull these out. Ugh. Got cable going into both ends on this, which is odd. Although, this is a Windows Hello webcam, which is kind of interesting. Go away, good grief. Adamant IT. So, this webcam array here, we've got a standard webcam, and the sensor looks pretty standard to me. We've got the activity LED. We've got a dual microphone array here and here. And these two here are IR emitting LEDs. And you can see these on these laptops. When you turn them on and it's sitting on the login screen, you'll see them strobing. You can just about see them with the naked eye. But if you point your smartphone camera at them, you'll see them lighting up. And what those are doing is it's bouncing light off of your retinas. So you'll get the cat's eye. The webcam will see a cat's eye effect in your eyes. And this means that Windows can do facial recognition. It's not a 3D scan of your face, but the idea is that it can check the shape and structure of your face, and the IR emitters, because they're bouncing light off of your eyes and making your eyes illuminate and move in space, Windows can verify that it's actually your face and not someone holding up a picture of you. Because obviously, if someone holds up a picture, you don't get the eye bounce. So that's the gist of what's going on there. So it's not like retinal scans or anything like that, but it allows Windows to do facial recognition and verify that it's actually a real person. So yeah, kind of interesting. So with that disconnected now, I will get my prying tool and we'll just gently scrape under here. These webcam boards are very thin and flexible, so we do need to be a little bit careful with them, but they will just scrape off. Ooh, this one's being a little bit tricky though. There we go. Have I just wrecked that? Nope, it's okay. I was a bit rough on that. That was a little bit hairy. It's okay though. Alright, now we need these cables. Do we need these? Yeah, we do want the hinge covers. There it goes. Give me that. And give me that. There's our display cable. And we don't need anything else from there. So this replacement display assembly I bought from eBay. I got it as a kit with the top lid and hinges as a set, which is usually the most convenient and economical way to purchase them. The fact that you get the top lid and the hinges as a set kind of is indicative as to what people know the known failure modes of these things are. So I'm very pleased that it has all of this stuff on it already. I'm actually very impressed by that. It makes my life a lot easier here, especially having that stretch release tape, because I still don't have this stuff myself. So yeah, I will now populate it with stuff and things, and I've forgotten which way round this goes. So very usefully, these ribbons here actually serve as a marker to show me where the cables go, because I can plug these in and then just see how it all aligns. Yep, so we're following these lines down that are actually already scored in the display assembly. Those are in the correct place. Looks good. Right, I'm going to put this to one side. Let's clean up our LCD. So for this, I'm just going to use my usual Tesco window and glass. I'm just going to spritz that down. And microfiber cloth, and we're just going to wipe this clean. And while it's about LCD, we can get right up to the edges, which is nice. So we don't have to deal with having all of that gunk around the corners, around the edge of the screen. We're not too fussed if we leave a couple of fingerprints on it at the moment. I just want to get the worst of it off. And then we'll give it one last wipe down when we've reassembled the laptop. There we go. As you can see, just straight away, that's come up so nice. It's not impeccable. However, it doesn't look like a disaster anymore. Doesn't look like it needs to be replaced. These panels are about, at the time of recording, they're about £40, I think. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, £39, £40, that kind of area. So it's really great to see that LCD prices have stabilized again. Around the time of the pandemic, I think it was, LCD prices went sky high, and it was very difficult to find them for less than like £70, which was making it extremely difficult to do screen repairs at any kind of good price. However, now they're back down to 40 quid. I can do most laptop screen repairs for somewhere between 80 and £100, depending on the difficulty of the laptop, and make a fairly decent profit and still have a screen repair on a laptop for less than 100 quid to the customer, which I think is quite reasonable. Right, this looks good. I'm going to commit to this, so I'm going to take off the backing tape. Oh my God, please. Right. Just double check that that screen is in. Yeah, that's definitely plugged in. I should do a power on test before I'd undone this sticky, if I'm honest, and just made sure the LCD is okay. Because if the LCD isn't okay, I will have wrecked the stretch release tape on this. I am willing to run the risk. However, in hindsight, you know what, actually, I want the hinges in first as well. I've done this in completely the wrong order. Alright, so mental note, everyone. I would recommend, firstly, that you fit your hinges in there, because you want to make sure that these are sitting nicely before the LCD goes in. And B, before you remove the blue tape, in fact, yeah, I'm putting this back on. Okay. Through. There we go. All right, hinges are in. Now I'm just going to lay this down. So now we can just do a quick power on test and make sure that everything is functional. This is all dried up now. We'll find out on reassembly whether it's all going to hold up. Right, that would be going in like that. So we're going pins face down. I like laptops where there's enough slack on everything that you can plug stuff in with the covers all twisted round and stuff like that. It makes testing easy, which just means that you can do tests like this along the way and just make sure that everything is good. Let's drop the battery in. And hopefully it's got just enough charge just to power on. Where's the power button? It's on the top. It's on the top. Fan spin. I'm tapping the escape key so I can get the boot menu. I don't like the way we're not seeing anything yet, but it could be RAM training. Ah, there we go. Whoop. CMOS checksum is invalid, etc, etc. BIOS reset, press enter to reboot. That's fine. That's a picture. That's all I need to see. So now it all works, we can commit to this. So I'm going to lift up that LCD and remove my backing tape again. This stuff doesn't want to be grabbed. Now we shall commit. So I'm going to line the bottom of it up and sit that down. And we've gone in just ever so slightly wonky there, so I'm just going to nudge the top right in. Make sure it's aligned. Give it a little bit of help on the left there. That looks good. Cool. Right, so I've aligned to these corners here, and I'm just going to check they are visually centered. Check if it's slightly off kilter, because remember, just being 0.5 mil out on both corners, so you've got, you know, like 1 millimeter of tilt, you might see that against the bezel. And if you can see that it's not perfectly parallel with the bezel, that's annoying. And I'm pretty confident about that, so I'm going to commit to it. So I'm just going to gently press down on each side. Not super hard, just enough that it's actually stuck into that position and won't move. Good, right. Front bezel. Let's put this to one side, and I'm just going to wipe this guy down. I'll spray onto the cloth in a corner, and now we can just use one finger just to go around this bezel. Clean that guy up. Find a dry bit. That's come up quite nicely. I did think this bezel looks kind of glossy, but it's amazing how much plastic will shine up with just a tiny amount of love. It doesn't need any exotic stuff, just cheap microfiber cloth, cheap window cleaner, both available from the local supermarket, and you can really bring up plastics like this. Hinge covers, and now the bezel will just snap back into place. Oh. And before we stick the bezel down, just look out for any double-sided tape that has balled up on the inside or folded back on itself. We don't have any here, but you want to check out for that, because if this has come up and then folded back on itself, it'll make a bump that won't go flat when you put the bezel back on. That looks fine to me, so we can put it in place. If you really want to, you could find some new double-sided tape to stick the bezel back down, but in my experience, usually, with the combination of the old tape and the clips, I never seem to have an issue with these bezels coming off. Right, I'm going to take this out the back and I'm going to blow the dust out of these fans, and then we'll do the thermal paste while we're here, because where these fans are chock full of dust, it's reasonable to assume that this thing has seen a lot of use and the thermal paste is probably baked. If the fans weren't particularly dirty, I wouldn't bother. My policy for thermal paste is I only bother replacing it if I have reason to believe that it probably needs replacing. So you can see this laptop has had heavy use, so it's probably worth doing. Also, it does have the dedicated GPU, which means there's a lot more heat going on in here as well. If it didn't have the discrete GPU, again, I probably wouldn't bother, but there's enough heat here to warrant it, in my opinion. Right, the air dusters didn't quite get all of the dust out of these fans, so I'll just finish the job with a toothbrush manually. There's only so much you can do with compressed air. Sometimes you do just need to do a little bit of brushy. Just an interesting. I do get a lot of comments about not blowing out fans when they're plugged in, because the fan motor will generate voltage that goes back into the laptop. I don't know if that's actually a real thing or not. Like, obviously, yes, if you spin the fan, it will generate power going back out of the fan. However, whether it generates enough current to actually damage something, I'm not sure. I find it very I doubt it, personally. But the only reason why I doubt it is that I've never seen it before. I've never seen it or heard of it directly from someone who has said, yes, I've seen this cause damage. I've only ever heard it from people in YouTube comments who I'm not convinced have actually seen it happen. They've just theorized it. But I do plan on actually doing a test for this at some point in an upcoming video, where I'm actually going to try and measure the amount of power that a fan can generate going backwards and see if it's actually a credible problem or not. Anyway, past that, let's rebuild this. So this is ready to be screwed in. Let's get the display assembly on the back of the laptop and we can start putting things back into place. I've just done the screw up to the bite point, but I'm not going to give it the usual that I normally do. Because if I go too far, it won't do anything. So we'll give it just a little bit. And on this side, same deal. Yeah, gave that one just a little bit of bite because I'm confident about that one. Those feel good. I think that's a solid repair. I am surprised. Right, let's plug in one of our Wi-Fi antennas. I'd plug in the other one if there was a good Wi-Fi card in this laptop. There we go. Someone else can put a better Wi-Fi card in this at another date. Oh no, the screen is modestly clean and the laptop is filthy. It's not coming out on the camera very well, but yeah, it's filthy. Alright, let's give this one last clean. i7 8th gen, discrete graphics. This is a nice laptop. While I'm having a video where I'm ranting about HP as well, this laptop angers me so much. For anyone who isn't sure what's wrong with this keyboard, I'll give you a few seconds to look at this keyboard and tell me what's wrong with this keyboard. Pause the video now. Okay, so did you get it? Do you know why this keyboard angers me? This is a UK keyboard. The double quote is in the top left on the 2 key. The @ symbol is in the lower right above the shift key. It has a short shift on the left for the backslash, and it has a vertical enter key with a hash key next to it. This is an American layout keyboard. The @ symbol is in the top left. Double quote is in the bottom right. It has a long shift key and it has a horizontal enter key with the backslash above it, and the hash symbol is up on the number 3. There is no pound sterling symbol. This is HP's monstrosity, which has the double quote in the top left, like a UK keyboard, the @ symbol in the bottom right, like a UK keyboard, but a long shift key and a horizontal return key with the hash symbol above it. Now, Apple are guilty of having these two the wrong way round as well, but at least they do you the good graces of having a short return and a short shift and a vertical return. However, this is we couldn't be bothered to do an ISO layout top case. This is why I bash HP all the time. It's the little things. Let's clean this up. And just for good measure, I'm going to give it the pledge as well. Pledge Mr. Sheen multi-surface furniture polish is what we need. Don't put this on the screen, it'll smear. Just a little bit on the keyboard. And this is going to make that keyboard and trackpad really slick and smooth. And it smells nice. Now, this is obviously brand new, so it doesn't need cleaning, but we'll give it the pledge because that will mean it will reject fingerprints and also be even smoother and also smell nice. This is good for currying favour with your clients because they get their laptop back and they go, oh, it's ever so clean, and oh, it smells nice. And that effect works. I've had customers comment on it. I've had people go, oh, is that mine? Mine was really dirty. And I'm like, yes, this is yours. It is no longer dirty. And I've had people go, oh, you made it smell really nice. So it works. People love it. There we go. Like I bought one. Beautiful. Make sure it turns on, I guess, as a special treat. This is probably going to complain about a reset BIOS again. There we go. And we're booting into Windows. Now, just an interesting. There's your flashing IR LEDs on the hello screen. That's what they look like. So yeah, kind of cool. And as I say, they are visible with the naked eye as a dull red glow, but they're really noticeable on a camera that's not filtering it. Right, that's all. Thank you for tuning in, everyone, and I will see you in the next video. Cheerio.